Welcome to the Living Spiritfully podcast. Here is your host for today, Paul Gloro.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Living Spiritfully podcast. I'm here with Crystal Eves. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Paul.
Okay, you know I love spending time with you, and I'm just so excited. The reason why we have this bonus episode is because this is the fifth Wednesday in August, which we just had a full moon, which was the blue moon, because it was the second full moon of August. And now here we are together. We're talking about our program, The Way of the Sun, today.
Yes, and we do this once in a blue moon.
Literally, I love that.
Yeah, we've I've been loving this program. I don't know how much the listeners know about the program, but we've been running it since March in Aries season, and we've been following the path of the sun through the various signs, and we've been talking about the astrology of each of the signs and learning about the zodiac as we go along. And you've been offering embodiment sessions that will help incorporate the energy of the sign, so that if you're unfamiliar with that energy, you can sort of like learn it in your body as much as you're learning it in your mind. I think it's been a really fun time. I think people are receiving it very well. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a really lovely experience to work with you. National fitness professional, award-winning. Congratulations on that, and
Yes, thank you.
just really being able to offer these insights, both with what the incorporated part that you're bringing and the astrological piece that I'm bringing. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
fun.
Well, I have to say, I love working with you. I love your presentation style. I love your little like anecdotes that you have, and your stories are just amazing to illustrate. Now, I mean, yes, we are looking at astrology, we're looking at the different signs, but really it's not even about that. It's all about that, but it's not about that at the same time, in the sense that it's just looking at different ways of being. And
Yes.
in this case, we're looking at the 12 different ways of being, and doesn't matter when you're born, we all have these types of these ways of being within us. And
Mhm.
just from my perspective, and we have a ton of testimonials from people that are currently registered for the program and that are going through it that I'll read in a bit. But just my experience of learning about astrology, it's helped my relationships immensely, because I understand other people now.
Yeah.
Because
This
one of
is,
the, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that you always talk about when we talk about each of the sign, you talk about the worldview. This is how they see it, and the different signs see the world as they are. And
Mhm.
so I only see the world as I am, not knowing. Well, I know, but I prefer if people just did what I said and as I did, because it would just make life easier, right? But that's not the case. And so understanding these different ways of being just helps me communicate with people better. It helps me understand people better. And if I could just uh, uh, echo something that you said earlier, in one of our sessions, that astrology has helped you fall in love with people.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, can you just
Yeah.
like elaborate on that? Because I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's like important to think about the fact that astrology has been around for so long, and it really contains humanity's understanding of what life is like, what's important, what people are like. It's stuck around for like 3,000 plus years. So these are some really tried and true ideas about how people operate, and it, as you were saying, it doesn't really matter what your sign is, what you're born under yourself. We all have various aspects of these different ways of being that astrology captures in its zodiac. So we're looking at all of this. For me, this part about falling in love with people that you reference, um, it's so true, because as as I think about each of the various ways a person could possibly be, sort of using this lens of astrology, I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be great to be like that? Like honestly, like if you think about Aries and how bold and courageous that energy is, like wouldn't it be great to really like live that? And how amazing would it be to be that person? And when I first started engaging with astrology quite a bit, and I started like consulting with people, that was the question that was always in my mind. Why is it so amazing to be you? That's what I would ask. That's the question that I would ask the chart as I sat down with the person. And so I've kind of developed this practiced habit of looking for what is really fantastic about all of the various ways you could be. So we're really trying to highlight that in the program so that people can see like, okay, yeah, this isn't the way I am, but wow, couldn't you really have like amazing respect for this approach, this way of looking at things? Can you see the gifts they're bringing into the world? Can you see how these gifts are complementary to other things that you may have in your life, or that they're needed in the world in certain ways, even if you don't have them yourself? And I think that's the major takeaway from astrology generally for me, is that, but it's also the big takeaway that I've always, always received from students anytime I've taught astrology, is that people say, wow, like I don't feel now like something's wrong with my spouse or my mother or my child or whomever, because I get, oh, they're doing that because that's just the way they are. That's right. They're doing that because that's the way they are. And your way of being who you are is great. And their way of being who they are is great. And we can all just say sometimes we're different, but it's all good. And I think that's really the underpinning message of that's underlying at least my section of the way of the sun.
Right, right. And it's amazing. The other thing that I kind of am playing with, and I would love your take on this, is because, we all have those, we'll call them archetypes. We all have those archetypes or those ways of being within us, or we're able to access them. Some parts of it are easier for us than others. But it's almost like I kind of look at it when I'm going through something in life. It's like, okay, who do I need to be? And what sign could I maybe tap into to maybe get through this, or to reflect on that, or for this particular project? One of the things that we share in Way of the Sun are chapters from your upcoming book called Way of the Sun. And I
Mhm.
love how you have that section in there about the different phases of a project. Like there's the Aries phase, which is the starting phase of the whole thing. And then, when we move into Taurus, what qualities you might need, or what you might need to tap into. So is it kind of safe to say, I don't know if even that's the wording that I want to use, but we can also just look at this as like, who would I need to be in certain situations to get the most out of this situation, or to be the best in this situation?
Yeah, that's a great way to use this material for sure. Like you know how they in back in the 80s we're always talking about, oh, your inner child.
Yeah.
So this is really, we're talking about your inner zodiac. So
Yes.
it's like my inner Aries, my inner Leo, my inner Virgo, my inner Scorpio. How can I honor them and allow them to have a voice in my life, even though maybe that's not my quote unquote sign, right?
Right.
Because when we are like, the zodiac will encompass all possible ways that a person could operate. And so if we are shying away from or having a reaction to somebody's way of being, then chances are we're a little bit unpracticed in that in our own life. And we would probably be well served to sort of strengthen that part in us so that we don't feel like it's a bother to encounter that in the world.
Right.
I use the example back in the very first class of how Aries types, strong, courageous, bold, self-prioritizing types of people really were very intimidating to me in their strength. And once I learned to be a little bit more that way myself, I loved people who are like this. I love them because I'm like, you show me the way. You show me how to be courageous and how to take chances and how to be, you know, strong and bold and sort of, move with your ideas. And isn't that amazing? And now that, it's not an issue for me, I can appreciate it in you. But it can go the other way too. I can appreciate it in you, and then it becomes less of an issue for me.
Right.
So there's that capacity to it's like a two-way street. And hopefully what we're doing is we're opening up that ability to see in the other person, how their gifts are really serving the world and themselves, and then maybe how those gifts could serve us too. So I think that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about. How could these gifts serve me too in certain situations where I might need that? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, overall, it's expanded my mind, it's opened my heart to others a lot more. And also, um, I understand cycles a little bit better. So I'm not fighting against things when I think I want something to happen, right? For example, if
Yeah.
it's winter time, I'm not going to get mad and be like, but I want to go to the beach outside my house, but it's snowing, right? So it's like
Yeah.
when there's a period of winter in my life, I don't fight that thing
Yeah.
because I don't want it or it's not ideal or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're bringing to the program actually really strongly. I think that you're bringing this idea of like, okay, how do we settle into the time we're in, because we're following the energy as it's moving along through the seasons. And the zodiac, the tropical zodiac that we're looking at is tied to the seasons. So we're going, we've done spring and we've done summer. Now we're starting to come into the fall season. It's going to be a little bit different energy. And your sessions are really helping people like sort of go, yes, this is the time I'm in. This is the time for beginnings, or this is a time for celebration, or this is a time for contraction. This is a time for introspection. Whatever it is, you're helping to get that in our body in ways that really augment the knowledge. Because so many times we can learn stuff, but then it's really in the practice that
Yes.
we actually truly learn what's there. And this is why all throughout the schooling system, they always made you do projects and write papers, because it wasn't until you wrote that paper that you really learned.
Right.
You could sit in class and listen, listen, listen. You're not going to get as much. So what you're bringing in is that you're getting us to do things and those things that we're doing are allowing that information to settle in our bodies in ways that become very familiar to us. And as you were saying, keep us in accord with the time
Mm,
that we're in. So this is, I find that is very important, and it's something that you do very, very well.
mm.
And I think people are really benefiting from that aspect of the program too.
Yeah, I mean, well, the feedback that we keep getting from our students are just they're loving it, and like we've heard some great things coming from people talking about how they understand their partners better, or how they understand their mother better, or just their relationships are shifting and transforming, or they're understanding them a lot better, which is making it easier for them to be in those relationships.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There used to be a meditation years ago that that we would do, was a guided meditation, and it was about like seeing yourself through the eyes of someone who loves you.
mm,
Um, you and I, as we're doing this program, we love all these signs.
yeah.
We love this energy. So, another relationship that a person could improve upon when they're going through the course is to see themselves through this lens of love, where they can really appreciate, yeah, I am like that, and it is okay. And that's
Yes.
nice too. That's
Oh,
nice too.
thank you for bringing that up, because that is the other thing that I love, that you lead with this. You lead with love, which is very much my like this is why we resonate.
Yeah,
But I don't think I've ever heard you say, "Oh, that sign is bad and that is the horrible thing about the sign." And often we
yeah,
hear like Gemini has a bad rap, or Leo has a bad rap, or Scorpio. I don't think I've ever heard you say anything that wasn't like, yes, it might have challenges doing that, but how beautiful is it this? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
love.
That's what I mean when I said earlier in the class that astrology really helped me fall in love with people because it really that is the orientation that I take with this material. It's like this. We're all great.
Yeah,
I mean, sure,
yeah,
we do it. We all have our flaws. It's true
yeah,
too. I don't want to be too Pollyanna about it, but
right,
we all have things that are just so amazing, and each one of us, we're unique, and we're a miracle that we're here. So
yes,
if we're not celebrating that, a statistical miracle that's happening in the form of an embodied person who's here doing things their own way, I mean, like what is there to celebrate if we can't
right,
celebrate that? Yeah.
right. Crystal, it's like you were there at my acceptance speech last week when I received the award, and I'm saying this because like the way I closed my speech was I'm going to continue helping people fall wildly in love with themselves through movement,
Yes.
contemplation, and celebration. And it's like, and I'm also just thinking of the way we are appearing on screen right now. I'm on the bottom half, you're on the top half. I'm talking about the self, fall wildly in love with yourself. That's the bottom half of the wheel. You're talking about falling in love with others. That's the top half of the wheel. You got to come into the program, listeners. You got to understand. You got to come do the sessions to understand what I'm talking about. The bottom half, top half of the wheel. But I love it. We're saying the same things in just in beautiful ways.
Complementary ways.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
I think this is a nice piece if people do come into the program because we're opening the program up for the second half,
That's right.
and people are going to be able to join the program. We had closed off for the first 6 months because we wanted to really settle in with the material and all the people, and now we're going to open it up for the second half, and people can join in. They'll get the first half via recording, and the second half they can participate. And I think it really is a tag team situation. They're gonna get loved from both sides.
Yes, it's love in stereo.
Yeah.
Digital Dolby 5.1 love. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So why don't we go through some of the testimonials that
Yeah.
have come in from some of our students. This first one here from Loretta in Quebec. She says, "The way of the sun strengthens my knowledge and insights of self, my areas of development, and what I can learn from others' signs. It has improved my overall understanding of others' behavior, and I am better able to interact and empathize with others." Then Leanne from Oregon says, "Way of the Sun encourages me to look deeper within myself, to acknowledge different qualities I possess, and invites me to draw on those qualities. I appreciate people more, and I have a better idea of what motivates them." And then Palmer from Ontario says, "Doing the course on a monthly basis is perfectly fitting to understand the zodiac. Learning in real time and feeling the energy as it is happening is really interesting and insightful. I am thoroughly enjoying the structure and feel the setup is very helpful to understanding self." And then Christina from Ontario says, "The way of the sun has allowed me to develop a greater sense of self and how I interact with others. I have developed a deeper understanding of character traits held by others, and I am delighted to discover that I share some of those same characteristics. I relate far better to others and have become more adaptable to changing situations and how I respond."
Thanks for reading those, Paul. Thank
Yeah.
you for
It's
reading them because it's really nice to hear what people are getting out of the program because we're coming to it with our own intention,
yeah.
and then people are receiving it from their perspective, which might be different from our intention. So it's nice to hear what people are actually getting out of it, and that they're enjoying it. That's
Absolutely.
very
Absolutely.
gratifying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this just, it was a year ago that we were talking about this randomly, right?
Mhm.
And we were just like, because I asked you, I was like, "Oh, Crystal, do you have any courses?" And you're like, "Well, I got this one thing. I just need to, put some final touches on it." And then it led into this collaboration that, I don't know, it's amazing to me. And I'm having the best time with it.
Me too. I'm really enjoying. I'm so glad that you asked me that question a year ago because I had my portion of this was sort of sitting over there and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I want to do something with it. And you were like, can you like maybe like bring it out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, for you, I would do that. But, you know,
Well,
it,
thank
I'm
you.
glad I did.
Yeah, me too. So the way the program works, as you mentioned, we meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but alternating weeks. So one week you take us through the zodiac, and we usually do that at the beginning of the season. So around the first couple of days of and when the sun enters that sign, and you talk us through that, and then 2 weeks later on Thursday, I come forward with the embodiment session where we heard all like the presentation that you do. We've had time to sit in it in that energy, and then in the halfway point, I bring in the like let's bring it into our body so that we can continue through the rest of this season in preparation for the next one. How
Yeah.
we live, how we interact, how we think, the even the simple things that we do, like you just talked about Virgo season, and something to do in Virgo is to we were talking about like sewing buttons and stuff, like completing a task.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just very, very normal things that you would do. But just even having the awareness of, oh, that's kind of part of the gift of that particular sign, that activity. So that knowledge can be very nice too for people just to sort of associate. One of the things that has been happening to me as we've been going through the program is I'm noticing symbols for the signs as we're moving into each sign. I'm going, oh, I'm like, we're in Leo season and I'm seeing lions everywhere. I'm seeing sunflowers everywhere. I'm seeing all the Leo symbols, and they've always been there. But it's sort of like that thing, like when you buy a new car, then you see that new car on the road all the time.
yes.
It's as we're attending to the energy, you become aware of it more and you notice it in your environment and you notice it in the people around you too.
Hmm.
So it really enhances your experience. And I think that the embodiment really helps that happen in a really strong way.
Absolutely. My favorite thing is when you send the emails about like your experience of the season, and in Cancer season, you find a crab croissant while you were in Quebec.
Yeah,
Like, isn't
yeah,
that wild?
yeah. Because like cancer being about like nourishment and like food and things, and then the symbol being a crab. I'm like, what? I never in my life have I seen a croissant shaped like a crab. And yet there was one like just sitting there. And I'm like, had I not been participating with you in this program, I don't think I would have taken note of that. I would have went by and went, what's that weird thing in the window? you know, doesn't look like a croissant to me. But
Yeah.
I noticed, and I've been
Yeah.
noticing all sorts of things. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun, and I'm hoping people do too.
Yeah, well, I mean, the testimonials have shared all of that, and the fact that people keep coming back, I mean, that's got to mean something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they're enjoying it, which is the whole point of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the program is available in real time or on demand. So for those that can't meet with the real time sessions, then it's always going to be available within 24 hours. And they also get, as I mentioned, the chapter to your upcoming book, The Way of the Sun, as we go through each of the signs. So there's a lot of information, a lot of opportunity for introspection. You've got some wonderful reflection questions with each chapter. You offer some wonderful reflection questions within the presentation itself, and then there's also the reflective part that comes with the embodiment experience. So this truly is. It's not just about learning about these different signs. It's about learning about ourselves, understanding ourselves a little bit better, and how we interact with the outside world. And I don't know. I think that's amazing.
It's 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 been fun to do for sure. That, and I like the various approaches that we're bringing in. I think what sticks in my mind too is one of the participants said, "I didn't realize I was going to learn so much about myself. I thought I was going to come learn a little bit about astrology, and I'm having like major personal growth." And I think, yeah, that's really something, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
this material has the ability to do that. It has the ability to sort of because it's steeped in a truth that's very old,
Yeah.
of human nature. And so as we encounter that, we're resonating with something in ourselves that is already present, that has been present in humanity for long periods of time. And if we've been craving that, for some reason, to see this piece of ourself, or to see that this piece of us is missing or undernourished or something,
Hmm.
then we get that in this material. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other thing too, a lot of like, yes, we're looking at it through astrology, but this information is no different than certain parts of psychology, right? This is no different than like it's like this information has been presented in many other different ways, just not labeled as astrology. And for
Yeah.
someone who I like to get to the source.
Hmm.
So yes, I can read other things that are like loosely based on it, but I just want to go right to the source. And you can't go any further back than astrology, right?
Yeah, you gotta go right back to Mesopotamian times. And even
Exactly.
Carl Jung had said in a letter, I believe, to Freud when he was first, because he was an astrologer. People don't really know that he studied astrology and could do charts and would do charts for his clients.
Interesting.
Like he wouldn't practice as an astrologer. He would do the charts to augment his psychotherapy that he was doing, his
Mm-hmm.
psychoanalysis. And he wrote to Freud in the beginning, and he said, I'm going to paraphrase it here because I won't have it perfectly, but he said something along the lines of, no doubt a great deal of psychological wisdom has been projected into the heavens with astrology, meaning to say that it's sort of like a repository, the myths that inform astrology and the stories that are connected to it and the archetypes that are there, are archetypes that are important for humans. And
Hmm.
we stick them there and say that's astrology, but they're coming from humans. Humans made the astrological system. The heavens didn't make the system. The humans made the system, and they associated it with the heavens. And so this is human wisdom that's coming through astrological knowledge. It's just
Oh,
a different way of
yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah, this is amazing. And like I said, I'm having the best time learning about myself, learning about others, but mostly I'm having the best time just hanging out with you.
Yeah,
And
I feel the same because it's really nice to see your approach. We have very, very different approaches. And there's so many times that after your Thursday night uh session where I've thought, wow, that was really necessary and powerful and moving in the body in ways that I never could have imagined. So I'm really enjoying doing this program with you.
oh, thank you. Well, I mean, we're here. We're going to keep doing this amazing stuff. And I feel like there's more to come because, I mean, well, first of all, we're only halfway through the year, but there will be more beyond this. So
Yeah.
we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah.
So lovers, check out the show's notes because that's where all the information is. The links to get to our page where you can find out more information about the program and to register. So registration is open now during Virgo season, and so if anybody signs up now, you're immediately going to get access to all the past recordings. So if you wanted to catch up, you could catch up. Though if you don't have time to watch all of the presentations and the embodiment sessions, it doesn't matter. You step in with Libra season and you'll be able to kind of go from there. You'll pick up where we are, and then you'll fill in the blanks with the other stuff later. And yeah, you can just come along on this journey of the way of the sun with
Yeah.
us and 17 other humans that are enjoying this and getting some benefit out of it.
Yes, and it's so appropriate that we're doing this at the halfway point of the zodiac, halfway point of the program, because Libra season is all about partnering up. So it's all about the other
Mhm.
person, bringing more people in, allowing that to happen. And if people do want to jump in, starting with Libra, when we get to 6 months from now and the program ends, they can still do the other 6 months and just stretch it out for the whole year and just do
Right.
the program that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because after all, this information is a wheel. So
Mhm.
it's never ending. So it doesn't matter when you hop on, you're going to go around the whole thing
That's
and
right.
get all the information that you need. And then some because more stuff will just come to you as you go through the program.
Yeah. So if you're a human and you have a birthday, come on along. You're welcome.
That's the criteria, human and birthday.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Crystal, I can't tell you enough how much I love you and how much I'm enjoying this. Anything else that you want to share or say about the program or to our listeners before we seal our
Um,
day today?
yeah, I think we said it all, but I just want to say, welcome. If you're thinking about it, and it's kind of like sort of like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? You should.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. Jump on that. Jump on
Yeah.
that if you're feeling that way. And also, I guess you, you'll find in the show's notes that the program can be done on a monthly basis too. So if they're
Yes.
worried about cost, they can just break it down month by month.
Exactly. And it makes it that much more affordable and easier
Mhm.
to experience.
Yeah.
So all that information is in the show's notes. That'll take you to the sales page that has all the information where you can register and join in the fun. And so check us out. I'm Paul Galoro, and this is Crystal Eves. Our program is Way of the Sun, and we need a little catchy tagline to kind of wrap up our things.
Yes, we
Can you think of
do.
anything?
Uh, Not right now, but give me a week or two. I'll have something.
We'll think of something. But thank you so much,
Stay
Crystal.
tuned.
Always a delight to spend time with you. And listeners, if you haven't listened to Crystal's our conversation about Virgo season, go back to last week's episode because Virgos, you want to listen to that. Crystal has some very good information that you want to kind of keep in the back of your mind as you go through the next little period.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Thanks so much, Paul, for having me on the show again. And I look forward to anybody who wants to join us in the program. And I look forward to working more with you for the next half of The Way of the Sun.
I love it. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
The Living Spiritfully podcast is a Spiritful production. Executive producer, Paul Galoro. Co-producers, Claudia Miko and Catherine Stilo. A big thank you and much love to you, the Living Spiritfully community, for liking, subscribing, sharing, and supporting this podcast.